diving into something pretty interesting today, Chelsea's striker situation.
Oh, yeah.
And we're going to be looking at this article from The Standard.
Oh, okay.
Which is a London-based news outlet. And they're talking about this upcoming FA Cup match against Brighton. And it looks like Chelsea might have a striker shortage going into this.
Yeah, could be a problem.
So, yeah, it's a big match for them.
Absolutely.
So, first off, let's talk about Marc Guiu.
Okay.
So, he got injured during the West Ham match. Looks like an abductor issue.
Yeah.
And it seems like it's worse than they initially thought.
Yeah, I saw that they said it could be weeks or even months.
Yeah, and that's a
huge range.
It is a huge range.
And for good reason with abductor issues, like, it's really hard to tell.
Oh, really?
You know, sometimes it could be a minor strain that heals quickly.
Okay.
You know, maybe just needs some rest and rehab.
Uh-huh.
But then on the other hand, it could be a more serious tear.
Oh, wow.
And then you're talking surgery, a much longer recovery.
So, like, how do they even figure out which one it is?
Well, they'll do a bunch of tests, scans, things like that.
Okay.
And then they'll have to assess, you know, how much pain he's in, how much movement he has.
So it's not like a broken bone where they can...
Right, exactly. It's not as straightforward.
Okay.
So weeks to months really does cover all the possibilities.
Wow. So for Guiu, I mean, this must be such a blow to him.
Absolutely.
He was doing so well, you know, especially in that Conference League.
He was on fire. Yeah.
And it seemed like he was going to have a breakout season.
For sure. I mean, he was really looking like he was going to play a much bigger role for them.
Yeah. So this has got to be tough for him.
Yeah. You know, and even if he comes back 100%, there's always that question.
Oh, what's that?
Of, you know, the mental side of it. You know,
Okay.
Will he be as confident? Will he be afraid to push himself?
Right.
And then with muscle injuries, there's always that risk of re-injury.
Right.
You know, once you've done it, once you're more susceptible.
So it's not just about coming back. It's about staying back.
Exactly.
Wow. And as if the Guiu news wasn't bad enough, there's also Nicolas Jackson.
Oh, yeah, right.
Who's dealing with a hamstring issue.
Yeah, another tricky one.
So is it as bad as Guiu's?
Well, it sounds like it might not be AS bad,
Okay.
but still hamstrings are nothing to mess with.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Even a minor strain can really linger if it's not managed properly.
So are they saying how long he'll be out?
It's kind of up in the air at this point.
So is there a chance he could play in the Brighton match?
It's possible, but I wouldn't be surprised if they held him back.
Hmm.
You know, better safe than sorry, especially with hamstrings.
Yeah, I mean, I guess rushing him back could make it even worse.
Exactly. You don't want to risk a more serious injury.
So if both Guiu and Jackson are out, I mean, who's even left to play striker?
Well, that's the big question, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, their options are looking pretty thin at this point.
And how does that affect the team, you know, tactically?
Oh, it's huge. You know, it limits their options in attack. They might have to change their formation, you know, get creative with how they use their players.
But isn't their manager, like, really committed to that 4-3-3?
Yeah, he is. I mean, he's known for being pretty rigid tactically.
So do you think he'd actually be willing to experiment, especially in such a big match?
He might have to, you know, desperate times call for desperate measures.
True.
I mean, it kind of reminds me of what happened with Spurs when Kane was injured.
Oh, yeah.
They had to adapt and innovate. They had no choice.
And I guess Chelsea might find themselves in the same boat.
Yeah, it's possible we could see some unexpected formations.
Oh, okay.
Maybe players out of position or even some reliance on the youth squad.
Oh, wow. That would be interesting.
It would be a real test for him.
And then there's also Romeo Lavia, who's still recovering from that hamstring injury.
Oh, right. Almost forgot about him.
Yeah. And it doesn't seem like his recovery is going as well as they'd hoped.
Yeah, it's frustrating. I mean, especially for young players, these recurring injuries can be a real setback.
So what do you think is going on there? Like, why so many hamstring injuries?
Well, it's hard to say for sure without knowing the specifics, but
Okay.
could be training methods. You know, maybe they're pushing the players too hard,
Uh-huh.
or it could be biomechanics. You know, maybe there's something about their running style that's putting extra stress on their hamstrings.
And could it be just bad luck?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it is just bad luck.
Wow. So they've got a lot to figure out.
They do.
So it sounds like Chelsea's in a pretty tough spot going into this FA Cup match against Brighton.
Yeah, no doubt they're facing a real striker crisis.
I mean, they're incredibly thin at that position.
It's a huge challenge for the manager, you know? He's got to figure out how to get the best out of his available players.
And maybe try some new things.
Exactly. He's going to have to be creative and decisive.
Well, this is definitely a situation worth keeping an eye on.
Absolutely. It'll be interesting to see how they navigate this.
So for our listeners out there, I mean, put yourselves in the manager's shoes. What would you do to handle this striker shortage?
Yeah. It's a tough one.
Yeah.
What would be your top priority?
Yeah, what's the most important thing for Chelsea to focus on right now?
Let us know what you think.
Definitely let us know.